Where is the absolute minimum? For f of x is equal to x to the third minus 12x on the interval from -1 to +3. Let's first start by determining what f prime of x is, or the derivative. And that's going to be equal to 3x squared by the power rule, bring the 3 down, subtract 1 from the exponent, minus the derivative of 12x with respect to x will just be 12. And then if we set this equal to 0, we will find our critical point values. And we can factor a 3 out of both 3 and -12. And when we do that, we'll be left with x squared minus 4. And then we can continue to factor this to be 3 times x plus 2 times x minus 2. So that means x could be -2 and x could be 2. Now, since our interval is from -1 to 3, we can ignore the x equals -2. So we just have one critical value that we are going to be testing within this interval, and that's at x equals 2. It's also worth noting that our interval ends at 3, so for our test point that's greater than 2, I'll use 2.5. And since it goes all the way to -1, I find 0 or 1 to be easier to substitute in, so I'll use 0. It still works. If we substitute 0 into our derivative, and I'll use the factored form of f prime of x, or actually, you could use the regular one. You'll just be left with -12. Well, that's negative. And then if we do +2.5, I will use the factored form for that one. That'll be 3 times x plus 2 times x minus 2. And if we substitute 2.5 in, 2.5 plus 2 will be 4.5, so that's positive. And 2.5 minus 2 is +1/2, also positive. Positive times a positive times this 3 is going to be positive. So therefore, we have a local minimum value at 2, and then if we substitute 2 into our original function, we'll have 2 to the third, which is 8. 8 minus 12 times 2, that's 8 minus 24, will give us -16 as our y-coordinate. Now let's also test our endpoints. So the function evaluated at -1 and the function evaluated at +3. For -1, -1 to the third is -1, minus 12 times -1 is -12, so that becomes -1 plus 12, which is going to be +11. So we have the point -1, 11, and then if we substitute 3 in, we'll get 27 minus 36, which is -9. So we have the point 3, -9. Now we're looking for the absolute minimum, or the smallest y value. Well, the smallest y value occurs at our local minimum of 2, -16. So that's answer choice D. That is our absolute minimum.